Hi everyone, I'm Deb Ronayne here with Lou Ronayne, and we're on a mission. We want to introduce you to our friends Kevin and Nancy South and to their ministry Hearts of Hope International. Hearts of Hope provides vocational training to the wonderful residents of Kiambu County, Kenya. Right now they have a very, very big need, and we have a very big desire to help.
We're very excited about being on this mission with Kevin and Nancy to help them get a Wrangler Jeep for their village up in Kenya. They shared the story with us and talking about how the people have to go back and forth, the villagers and the vehicle they currently have, and how treacherous it was. And it's like a light went off and thought, geez, they could use this. You know, I'm driving around. I have one that I get to drive every day that I just love. It's a fun vehicle, but anybody that's ever seen them or driven one knows it's more of a utility vehicle that's very practical and very dependable. So we're looking forward to you to help us raise the money and make this a reality for us. And we've never done anything like this before, but we really feel that this is the right thing to do. And we're looking forward to teaming up with Kevin and Nancy and all of you to make this a reality.
Please stay tuned to the end of our brief video and you'll see how you can help.
We'd love to have you join us on this journey. We guarantee it will be rewarding, and actually it's a lot of fun.
It will be fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin and Nancy, welcome. And can you tell us a little bit about how this wonderful organization came to be?
I'll take that one. So when my children were going off to college, I had an opportunity to fulfill a lifelong dream of attending seminary. And while I was in seminary, I had an opportunity to establish a friendship with a Kenyan national. And it's really a great story. I was approaching a dorm at night. It was dark. There was a man standing outside of the dormitory, and he was locked out. And I approached him and said, "Are you locked out?" And he said, "Yes, my key fob won't work." And so I let him in the building, and I noticed he had an accent. And so I asked him where he was from, and found out he was from Kenya, and just we kind of invited him into our family, and he was married. He had 2 kids. Over the course of time, we heard his vision. He wanted to go back to Kenya and open a school to train pastors. So Kevin and I partnered with him, and we had gone to Kenya a couple times to help him with his school. One time I was on the mountain. There's a mountain, he's in the Rift Valley, and there's a mountain behind it. And one time I was up on the mountain, and I was visiting with some orphans and widows, and I just had a Holy Spirit movement within me that I can't really describe, but I literally felt the Holy Spirit from here to here moving within me, and I knew there was something for me to do on that mountain. Didn't know what, didn't understand it, but knew the Lord had something for me to do there. So on that particular trip to Kenya, I was by myself. Kevin was in Michigan. But interestingly, the exact same time, Kevin was attending a leadership conference. He was at that time on the leadership team of the church we were attending, and he was there with our church. And do you want to tell that part?
Yes, it was really simultaneous to her experience in Kenya. I was in this leadership conference listening to these different speakers, and I had the same type of feeling, the same stir in my gut, like there's something there for us to do. There's something that we're supposed to bring from our experience and background, our skills, to Kenya. And I kind of kept that to myself. She was actually traveling back And then we kind of connected dots afterwards, and we were just like, this is but God. I mean, how can it be? Yeah.
So, that was kind of the birth of it, is God just gave us both this really strong desire that, desire is not really the right word, but I don't have a word. So we just kind of stepped into that, and that was about 4 years ago. And it took us about 2 years of trips there and talking to people and making connections. And one of our trips, we went into 15 different homes in these villages and just asked them a lot of questions. What are your needs? What are potential solutions to those needs? And we found through those home visits a reoccurring theme that the people weren't looking for handouts, the people were looking for training. Every single home we went into, education and training were two things that they were asking for. So that kind of steered the direction that we took. And we took about 2 years of doing that research, of going and asking questions, meeting with community leaders, meeting with residents. And 2 years ago, we launched Hearts of Hope. We knew then that our direction was to provide vocational training. In those 2 years, we've been able to hire a paid partner. So we have a partner on the ground there that runs the work, and I'm in contact with them almost daily. So I run the operation, do the operations from here, and then we have a paid partner on the ground. We have around 60 students right now in vocational training, and every trip that we go, there are more needs that we see that we think are part of the vision of what God has for us to do. Right now we know that agricultural grants are part of the direction that we're going, and we're just taking it one step at a time and listening to the Lord and allowing this to be Spirit-led.
That's amazing. That was like a spark in two parts of the world at the same time.
Well, it was.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Tell us about some of the people, those that you work with.
Yeah, so the people for us is really amazing, and we're talking about a whole range of ages. What's impressive to us is really their thirst for wanting to develop and achieve greater things. Obviously, there's limitations from where they're at. Very faith-based people, and we think of it sometimes. Maybe we can think of it like they don't have all these things, but to them, that's what they grew up with, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not thinking, hey, they want what we have here, by no means. But like we learned by visiting the households. And most of the households we visited were widows who were bringing up orphans in the area up on the mountain. So they're, like I said, they're very faith-based, but they have a vision of what they lack, and that's where we talked about the training, really, but how to get the training and where to go. What we've learned by scholarshiping some of the folks is their commitment and desire for us is over the top. We have a lady who walked several miles just to learn a skill, a very older lady, but the desire to do something different and to succeed is just amazing for us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you.
That's great.
They're very grateful people. I think that one of the things that I've learned from my Kenyan friends is when you get into a car, if you're fortunate enough to have a car and to travel there, before they go anywhere, they pray for God's protection. And when they get to their destination, they thank God for his provision of protection. So that's something for me, a way that they have blessed me, is their gratitude, their understanding of God's provision, his protection. That has definitely been a blessing to us, is seeing God through their eyes. That's really blessed us.
The blessings just come right back, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for me, hearing a part of the story when we were talking last year, talk about the terrain and, talk about the mountain, but, for us back here, we can't visualize just what that mountain means in their life for getting around. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, the main road systems, if you fly into Nairobi, and we take the freeway to to the Mahi Mahu, which is just down in the basin of the mountain. Is normal, pretty normal roads, paved roads. Can be scary because we're up on the mountain. It's not like here where you have guardrails and things. So from the big city into the rural areas, there's good roads. But as you venture off the main path, okay, so Mahi Mahu sits in the valley, the Rift Valley, and it's a thoroughfare for truck drivers. It's a big truck driver town, and this is where Joseph located his pastor school intentionally because there's a lot of need in the area. So Nancy talked about the mountain up behind. So it's a very rural area and a big population of folks up there with very little access to transportation. Mostly delivery trucks, and you see a lot of motorcycles. Okay, young guys who charge for a ride. Remember, the people are living on $1 to $2 a day if they're lucky, but if they wanted to ride, they would pay. So we do the ministry up Kiambu County, up on the mountain, and we've traversed this mountain road at different times over the year. So they have a flood period, they have a drought period, and if you're a Jeep guy like me, you know, think of your funnest Jeep ride in a rural, you know, terrain with your four-wheeler, okay? Now think of that with just a little unreliable beat-up car if you have one. It can be very frustrating and can be scary to a point.
And dangerous because you have a huge cliff drop off, and again, no guardrails.
Yeah, and we've experienced it. Nancy and I actually broke down halfway up the mountain, and
the car literally starts.
We recruited
back.
a few young men to help us push. So the mode of transportation is very challenging. So, and the use for the vehicle for us would be twofold, right? We have our employee and our pastor friend who's a partner with us. Would be reliable transportation to serve those folks. And Jane, our employee, who does an outstanding job with what she has, she really plays a key role as we try to facilitate these people getting to internships, doing applications for schools, things like that. If you think about, you know, Nancy brought up the story this morning, if we remember back a few years, the gentleman in Detroit who walked 25, 30 miles to work. This is what we see there. People have to walk, is however far it takes. Joseph used to tell us stories when he was a young man, and we actually walked the path that he took down the mountain, how he'd walk every day into the valley, and then he'd have to walk all the way. So for us, it's just an efficiency thing that would help accelerate the ministry work and help fulfill some of their dreams there on the mountain.
It would be a safety issue as well for our employee she goes up and down that mountain every day. We actually are in the process right now of hiring a teacher that will be teaching on the mountain, and so that teacher as well will need to get up and down the mountain with supplies several times a week. You know, we think in the future, we know that transportation of product for the people that we're serving there. So we have one student in particular he's a cosmetology student, but he has a family farm, and most of them do. They're called shambas. They're like little 2 or 3 acre plots, and most of his people are subsistence farmers. So they eat what they grow, and the excess they sell, but they're very dependent on a truck, or they're called lorries, coming up the mountain and buying their produce from them. So in the rainy season, a truck can't get up the mountain. So if the rainy season comes and they haven't sold their produce yet, it rots in the field. So we know that helping them figure out transportation to get their product somewhere that it can be sold to a market.
Exactly.
That's absolutely a huge piece of, we don't know what that would look like right now as far as a Jeep is concerned. Maybe there's some that we can help, with a trailer behind it. We don't know, but we know that access for these people to get their agriculture off the mountain and to market is absolutely a piece in the direction of where we're going. So getting teachers up there, getting supplies up there to do the training, and then getting product from the mountain off down into the valley so it can be sold. Both sides, absolutely, transportation is one of our largest challenges.
Yeah, I think like Lou and I talked earlier, just being able to make that contact with people. Like the gentleman we had today, George, has 5,000 heads of cabbage in the field, but he has no way to sell them. And we've been talking to Pastor Joseph, like, how can we help him there? But if he had access, he was able to had transportation. He could go out and seek buyers in the city, right? And some of those lorries that, if they were interested and he provided a competitive cost, he could get them to come through and he could sell. If not, they're just going to rot 5,000 heads of cabbage.
That would be a shame.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. We'll do a little introduction earlier before this, but for us, this has touched us in your story, and we feel really drawn to want to help you guys with that. And we've never even been there, but this is, for me, helpful every time I hear you guys talk about it, because it's a great way to illustrate for us and other people that we'll be talking to just the kind of life that they live there. And it's neat that they're full of gratitude, and they just want a better life for where they're at, and we want to be able to help and
bless
provide
them.
and bless that. Bless them in that. So
This endeavor to raise money to get them a Jeep would certainly change their lives in so many ways, all the way around. So this is just the start, because we're going to help spread the word.
Yeah,
And we're excited to do that.
Yeah, we're excited that we, met you guys and become friends, and that we can help you guys. It's clear by hearing your story how committed you guys are to it, and what you've already done in a short time to impact people's lives. So we're excited about doing this with you. So
We thank you, and we are grateful to both of you for this mission that you've started, and we're excited to kind of try to help you along the way.
Great.
Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.